Well, how about this, guys? Hard to believe this, but this is actually the first time that I'm speaking to this man. You know him from his amazing work. One of the best coaches in the game, the head coach at Syndicate MMA, joins me ahead of a big fight weekend, UFC 311, as he corners Merab in his title defense. John Wood, Coach John Wood, thank you so much for joining me after a long drive from Las Vegas to Los Angeles, man. It's great to speak to you.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
So let's get right into it because I want to know from your perspective, from what you know, what made this fight come together in the end? Because I know that for a while, Merab was saying that Umar maybe wasn't going to be the next guy. But then I saw he kind of went to the UFC and demanded that this fight be made.
So, it was one of those things where obviously Merab had, after winning the title, went home and, spent some time in Georgia and did his little world tour and wanted some time off. And, so basically trying to heal up from hard camp and, fight and stuff. And his goal was to take, 4 or 5 months off and get better, get healed up, get everything squared away. And I think at the time, Umar had actually, I think, booked a fight with Song Yadong, or that was in the works, and something happened, and
Mm.
that fell apart. And then basically after that, the UFC had started calling and really putting the pressure on. And it was never that he wasn't going to fight. We always knew he'd end up fighting Umar. But basically, we had kind of a different time frame, and because of his, Ramadan and religion and things that he didn't want to fight a certain time frame. It wasn't lining up, but here we are. That's just the nature of the business. Is sometimes you get to pick, and a lot of times you don't. The UFC is the boss, and they tell you what they want and what you're going to do essentially. But we knew this fight was going to happen. It just happened a little quicker than expected. But there was a lot of stuff that was going on behind the scenes, and a lot of talk of Merab ducking him and this and that, so finally he got fed up with it and was like, okay, let's just get this over with and let's do it.
Mm. From you as a coach, though, knowing what you know, the fact that you were hoping maybe to have a little bit of a longer break and a chance for him to have a longer lead in into a fight like this, what does that conversation look like? Like, were you on board straight away, or were you hesitant because you know that it's not optimal, perhaps, to be back so soon?
We didn't have a lot of time. Literally the day that it was announced, we found out like 10 hours before that, the day before. That was decided. It was a quick go.
Mm.
um, but the thing that I have all my guys, not just Marab, but everybody at our gym is, at Syndicate, is pretty much staying on the mats and staying in shape, because this is when a lot of times the opportunities come. The big opportunities come on short notice when you don't expect it. Rob isn't a guy that spends a lot of time out of the gym. He probably spends more time in the gym than he does out of the gym. So, he's always in shape, ready to go. It wasn't like a hard, there's times where you start to have to debate those things of, is he going to be in shape? Is the weight a matter? He's a champion through and through. He lives his life like a champion, a humble champion. He's always on the grind. He's always in there helping his teammates. He's always in there getting better. So that part takes the biggest load off, your chest of basically not having to worry or stress about those type of things. Um, so when it came down to it logistically, and the things, there's always a lot of back room and deals that get done, and things monetarily and business wise that kind of make it a better, smarter decision. So it wasn't a hard one for me, as long as he was on board, and he's pretty fired up and he wants to get at this guy. And so um, it was okay. And I knew, for me, I know where he's at, always, like, physically and mentally, and we're in the zone, and it's been a great camp. And so I couldn't really ask for any more of what we got out of for this camp. And like I said, he's ready to go, man. He's in dog shape. He looks great. So
I also ask because, we see that Umar was dealing with an arm injury going into this fight as well.
yeah.
I mean, like, you can't really buy too much into that, right? As a coach, you guys are training for the best Umar possible. But when you noticed that, what was your thought when you saw that he had this potentially pretty serious arm injury initially in his camp?
Listen, I say this all the time. If you make it through a camp or go into a camp 100% healthy and come out of it 100% healthy, you probably did it wrong. You probably didn't do enough. This sport is unlike any other sport where your body goes through the ringer. We're training to get into a cage and fight with another man, essentially with a dude that wants to kill you, is trying to kill you. So we have to train and simulate those things on a daily basis. And that comes with a lot of bumps and bruises. And most of the injuries and all those things do happen in training, so we assume it just like everybody goes into a fight banged up a little bit. Everybody goes into a fight with bumps and bruises, feeling like shit. Everybody trains that way. So to think at this level that that's going to be something that we're going to be able to exploit, if it happens, if he goes out there and we kick him in the arm and his hand, his arm breaks in half, great. But do we think that's going to happen? No. Can you bank on those type of things? Absolutely not. That'd be foolish to do that. Like I said, everybody in this sport is tough as nails, especially at this level. You get guys that just there's just no way injuries aren't going to stop them, and so do we take that into account? Do we know about it? Sure, but do we put any weight on the fact that, oh yeah, we're going to be able to hurt him because he's injured or this that? No, I don't think that's going to play into anything in this fight.
I could just see you guys like, all right, arm kick drills, arm kick drills, arm kick drills.
Maybe we did. Maybe we spent the entire camp kicking arms.
Hey, in all seriousness though, man, Umar, 18-0. What is it about him? What is that X factor that's made him undefeated that his opponents can't figure out? What is it that makes him this dangerous?
Umar's an extremely talented fighter. He comes from a great lineage, great camp. Obviously that last name carries a lot of weight. He's got a lot of pressure on him to perform it, and he's a very well-rounded guy. He's got great striking, great wrestling, submissions, the whole deal. He is a pretty well-rounded, complete package of a fighter. And so, there's a lot of things that come with getting to this level, one being talented, the work ethic, and a lot of luck. There's things that get in. People get their shot with, being healthy at the right time, being the last man standing, being the guy that, is there when he's needed. So, all that comes into play, but Umar obviously is a very, very, very talented and dangerous fighter. And so that has to be taken serious. I don't necessarily think that he's undefeated because he's great, but obviously we think we can beat him. I think that Merab can beat him, and we wouldn't have taken the fight. So everybody's got a chink in the armor. Everybody's got holes in the game, and that's what we're here to find out. And it's always at this level, Merab's always going to be fighting the next best guy, and Umar is the next best guy right now. And he's like I said, he's no easy task, but Merab is Merab, and he's the champion for a reason.
I just want to quickly read something from Aljo that he said during a recent chat. He said, I think if we keep the fight where we want it, Merab is going to shut a lot of people up and going to prove a lot of people right. No disrespect to Umar by any means, but for me, it just comes down to one guy has done the work and one guy is being propped up by the accolades of what his relative has done. I understand he's trying to cover out his own name and history, but facts are still facts. The jury's still out on Umar. We don't really know if he's really that guy just yet. What do you think, John? Do you agree with Aljo? Do you feel like Umar is still largely unproven going in here?
We're definitely going to find out on Saturday night, but I have to look at every fighter that my guys are going to fight as the most dangerous person in the world. We have to go in there with the utmost respect for their game and be able to deal with whatever comes. Did he get to where he got like Merab? Absolutely not. I don't think anybody, especially in that division, has gone through what Merab's gone through and the murderer's row that he went through to get to where he's at. And I think that's the big chip, on Merab's shoulder, is that he was forced to earn it that way. So, other people should be too. And that's just not, like I said, the nature of the business is the business. And that's the UFC's job to put whoever they see fit into those title fights. I just came off of a fight with Pereira and Khalil being the number 8 ranked guy. So these things happen, these things happen. And Khalil gave him a hell of a run for that, So I think that the last name does carry weight. I think there's a huge push. The betting lines don't mean shit. Like that's a thing that can be swayed by your fans. That can be swayed by one big bet. I believe that Merab has probably been the underdog. I think in every fight in the last 5 fights. He always opens up as the favorite, but as they get closer, that those things sway. We were like, again, I've said this before, we were supposed to die in the first round by O'Malley. O'Malley was supposed to decapitate us, and you saw how that went. No one, not a single analyst, not a single person come fight week, not one gave Merab even a chance of even finishing the fight, of like getting to the fifth round. So you know how those things go. But as far as, I don't really give a shit. Did he earn it? Did he not earn it? My job is to get my fighter ready for the person who is in front of them. And he's a very, like I said, at this level in the UFC, there is no easy fights. The top 10, they're all killers. The next guy, the best contender, come on. You've got to take it serious. So I don't really care how he got there. My personal opinions of, did he do it the right way? Did he this? Who gives a shit? We're here, and my job is for my fighter to be prepared to go out there and beat this guy.
All right, guys, it's time for a new year and a new you. Thanks to our friends at MANSCAPED. Have you sorted all the best products to get you looking good downstairs and all over your body in 2025? Performance Package 5.0 Ultra by MANSCAPED is your secret weapon for stepping into 2025 sharp, clean, and confident. Don't be the guy that rolls into January looking like you just emerged from hibernation. Let the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, the Weed Whacker 2.0 handle your overgrowth so you can focus on leveling up. Start 2025 with precision, because the only thing that should be growing this year is your success and not your scruff. Join the 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. Use the code word submission now. Keep this show going. Get 20% off and free shipping today. Performance Package 5.0 Ultra is the all-in-one grooming kit. Of course, I mentioned it before, but I'll say it again. Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is the best tool you could have. It also comes with the Weed Whacker 2.0 ear and nose hair trimmer, full aftercare, which helps you treat yourself right with the crop soother, and the crop preserver keeps you fresh and comfortable and confident, so you're always ready to move forward. And you get some free gift. Kick off the year with a bonus that elevates your routine. The Boxers 2.0, which I love to wear. They're one of the most comfortable boxers you can wear. And the Shed 2.0 toiletry bag, which I take with me everywhere I go. Manscaped has a 30-day money-back guarantee as well, so you can try it risk-free right now. Use the code word submission. Go right now, 20% off and free shipping. And I just want to talk to you guys about SAILY as well. SAILY is an unbelievable app that's going to change the game forever when it comes to travel, and you want to be covered with your phone. Forget lining up at airports and having to get a new SIM, taking your SIM out, keeping it in a little baggie, making sure you don't lose it. Forget all of that. SAILY has you sorted. All you got to do is download the app, choose the amount that you want to spend, what country you want to go to, and boom, like that, you are sorted. I just went to New Zealand. I was absolutely covered. I didn't want to spend the $10 or $20 or $30 a day that I was going to have to spend because of my provider. I put in an amount. It had me covered the entire time, and I even still have data left over because it was so smooth and easy. One of the things I love about SAILY as well that you may not realize is it actually comes with an ad blocker. So if you are watching videos or doing stuff on the internet, why waste your data on ads? The ad blocker has you sorted, and it comes with web protection as well. Malware on your device is the last thing you need on your travels, and SAILY gets you sorted and protected too. So why not jump on right now, use the code word submission, get 15% off. All you gotta do is download the app, choose your destination, where you wanna go, the amount of money you wanna spend, activate it on your phone without having to take out your SIM card, without having to line up at airports, without having to re-sign different documents. SAILY has you sorted, whether you need a little bit of data or a lot of data, whatever your plan is, SAILY has you covered wherever you go in the world. Go on right now, check out the app. It's the most seamless and easiest process when it comes to travel eSIMs that you can experience. Use the code word submission, 15% off. Jump on right now. What are you waiting for? Grab your SAILY today. If you're traveling tomorrow, next month, get it sorted today. Use the code word submission while it's still active. It's 15% off. SAILY.com/submission gets you sorted. Try it today, whether it's a lot of data, small amount of data. SAILY has you sorted. Easy, seamless, highly recommended. Now back to the program. Saw actually you were getting a little bit of backlash because you were talking, I think it was to MMA Junkie, and you mentioned how I'm not sure exactly what you said, but basically Merab being the bantamweight GOAT if he beats Umar. Did you see some people didn't take that very well? But to break it down for me, obviously Merab's kind of beat, He's in that position where he's kind of beaten everyone on the way to
Yeah.
the title. He's a little bit like an Alex Volkanovski or a Robert Whittaker, or these guys that have had to basically fight the best contenders before they
Yeah.
even became champion. So from that perspective, it does make sense that beating Umar, it's kind of like he has beaten almost everyone in the division, even though it is his, first title defense.
Yeah, and what I said there is that I think he's in the talk of that. I'm not saying that, the GOAT conversation is just thrown around so lightly today. There's one GOAT, and that's John Jones, and he's gonna always
Mhm.
be the GOAT. But for the bantamweight division, like, and what I said right after that too is that if he defended the title against all of those guys, there wouldn't even be a question. But like, so he beats Umar. Who else is left? I mean, who else hasn't he fought? Who else hasn't he beat? So I think that that's a valid, talking point. Do I go around telling people Merab's the GOAT? No, but we're doing interviews and talking about shit. So it is what it is, and I don't care about backlash. I don't care about what somebody from, 5,000 miles away is saying about me or what I know or don't know. It's just a stupid opinion on this. And I just, like I said, the body of Merab's work, I don't think there's anybody else that has done it like he's done it. And if you go out and beat Umar, who is the unbeatable, everybody, it's funny because when we go out there and beat Umar, everybody will turn and be like, "Oh yeah, he wasn't tested. He was never tested before. He wasn't this. He wasn't that. That was da da da." And it'll be the next thing, and that's fine. That's MMA. That's what what you sign up for. So I don't really get into the GOAT conversations that much, but like I said, that was a talking point that I think his name would be thrown around there. Obviously, he has to defend the title a couple more times to attain GOAT status, but yeah, it's all good.
Mm. It's interesting because you kind of get the feeling from the UFC, from a business perspective, obviously they value Merab, but Umar becoming the champion with his legacy of the family and being able to onsell the Nurmagomedov name, it does, and then trying to get Merab to quickly do this turnaround and kind of not on his own terms. What do you think of this sort of relationship that he's got with the UFC at the moment?
Well, I think the UFC is extremely good at what they do. I think they're the best in the business. Well, there's no I think. They
Yeah.
are the best in the business. They're the gold standard. So to question what their business, practices are is was way above my pay grade. Those guys know what they're doing. They've built an empire and they know what sells, they know what pushes, they know what's going to bring them money. And sometimes it works out for them, sometimes it doesn't. Obviously, that name and that demographic, there's a lot of money behind Umar and a lot of very wealthy people that would love to see Umar be the champion. And I think that opens up a lot of doors for the UFC to make more money, and bigger things for them. So, like I said, this is a business, and we run it such, and I'll never question or talk shit about how they do things because I wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here. This sport wouldn't be where it is if it wasn't for the UFC. My
Hmm.
personal opinions, like, do they give Merab the respect? Does anybody give Merab the respect that he deserves? No, but we're gonna keep doing what we have to do and keep winning until eventually he can't be denied. And it's kind of the same thing actually as Khabib. Khabib came in, and Khabib wasn't like loved by the UFC at first. He was not like this superstar that they were getting on before, behind and pushing
Hmm.
until he kept winning and kept winning and kept winning and kept winning and realized, oh shit, we can't, we have to get on board with him. And then came, once he started, they got behind him and gave him the push. And he got to that superstar legend status that he rightfully deserves. This guy's done amazing things. But it's really up to the UFC. They're the best at making stars, and if they want you to be the guy, they'll make you the guy. If you're capable of being the guy, they wanted that with O'Malley. They wanted O'Malley to be, he's the poster boy. They've already came out and said that he's probably going to fight the winner of this fight, coming off a loss. He didn't have to go defend. He didn't have to go fight somebody because guess what? He sells tickets. There's a lot of money behind him. Do I fault them for that? No, that's their business. Their business is to make money and their business is to put on great fights, and they do it. So I don't think that there's going to be a shift and change in those kind of things. And right now, they obviously see something in Umar and they want to get that push behind him.
Mm. I know that Sean and Tim, they're going to be cage side. Are you anticipating them trying to call things to Merab throughout the fight, trying to continue this little rivalry that we noticed spark a while back, or do you think it's going to be all clean?
Hey, I hope they do. It worked out great for us last time. Whatever, Tim had to say in the corner, give some more advice to Rob in the fight, and hopefully it works the same way it did against O'Malley.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. With the fight itself, how do you see it playing out? Because Merab and Umar, both great wrestlers, both great grapplers. How do you think the fight actually plays out? Is it about whoever can get their opponent in the position that they need him to be in and sort of gets ahead of that? Or do you believe we see a lot of standing, a lot of back and forth strikes, and the wrestling kind of canceling itself out because both men are so good at wrestling and grappling?
I do think you're going to see a lot of striking. Like that is something that Rob is getting, growing leaps and bounds daily in the room. This camp has been especially rough on my body. He's now sitting down on punches, and everybody in the room is just like, "Holy shit, this guy is cracking now." So he's putting it all together, and I've said this before. Sometimes the things he does isn't beautiful to the eyes. It isn't pretty, but MMA a lot of times is an ugly sport, and we got to get ugly and dirty, and that's what Merab is best at. So I do think that the striking game will play out, but both of these guys are so good at what they do. They're going to find ways to make that happen. Rob is going to. We're not going to shift off and do something totally different that he's not done before, or maybe we will. I don't know, but
Mhm.
I think this fight could go a lot of different ways. There is fights where you see two great jiu-jitsu guys, two black belts, you know, not spend any time on the ground at all because they don't want to go there. Two wrestlers, same thing. Like you could see strikers. This fight, it really is it's gonna be kind of we get in there and we see what happens. But I know that we're prepared for anything that happens, and I'm pretty sure they probably are too. So it's going to be one hell of a fight.
Mm. Let me ask you this. Obviously, we spoke about the fact that Merab's kind of beaten most of the guys in the division. Sure, there's a few matchups for him in terms of rematches, and you got Jan and Figgy and all sorts of people around the division. But do you see a scenario that after a few title defenses, there could be a possibility of Merab moving up like Aljo did and having a crack at 145, or do you think predominantly 135 is the spot that Merab will stay in for the rest of his career?
I mean, I can tell you there's been no talk of 145 in between us. Not saying that's out of the question. That's up to Merab, when that time comes. I think we're very focused on, defending that belt for as long as we can and, continuing to build on GOAT status. You know, so I
Someone's
think that
keyboard is getting broken in a basement as we speak.
yeah, more power to him. But it's one of those things that Rob's not an overly big guy. Like Aljo's a big dude. Aljo like walks around and 145 is probably better suited for him. It would be one of those things if we've defended the belt so many times that starts to come up. I'm sure he'd be game for it. There's no challenge that I don't think that if presented to Marab would be, turned down, especially something like that. So do I think he would do it? Absolutely. Has there been any talk or anything at that point in time? And we just got the belt, so I think, like I said, there needs to be quite a few, more defenses before that talk starts to happen. But I wouldn't doubt that somewhere down the line happens.
Mm. Who's winning Islam versus Armin 2? It's up to you guys. I'm sure you'll be interested to watch that one if you get a chance in the back.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm a huge Armand fan. I think that dude is probably like overall one of the most talented guys in the UFC. He's a good dude. I've done camps with him before, and he's been at the gym, and I really I'm rooting for him, to pull it off. But
He's looking
logistic,
huge, isn't he? Like
dude. I
physically, I'm
mean,
like,
he's just
whoa.
shredded. Like that's what I want to look like when I grow up, But it's it's one of those things where, man, Islam, he's just one of those guys that you really at this point in time can't bet against until you see him lose, it'd be hard for me to say that Islam's gonna lose it. I think it would be, a close decision. again, or maybe swinging towards Islam's, direction. He's so big. That dude is such a monster of a lightweight, and he's obviously so talented. I just know Arman obviously in a 5-round fight could take him deep waters, and I know that Islam obviously cuts a lot of weight. He's a big guy, so that's where it gets really really tricky is in those later rounds. So I see it being a close decision, one way or the other. But it's really hard to bet against those type of guys that are so dominant. And even, you've seen him now deal with some adversity. He's
Mm.
gotten beat up before and keeps coming. There's no quitting that guy. So it's like, Alex Pereira. You don't bet against Alex Pereira at this point in time until you see somebody able to develop a game plan that works. It's just one of those things that Islam's the man right now. So it's hard to say that it's not going to go his way.
All right, man. You got your bags packed for 312. You coming to Sydney? Are you cornering Whaley?
I am actually cornering. I am coming to Sydney. I actually have a short notice fight we just picked up with Cody Steele, so
Yes.
he's coming out there. So I wasn't planning on it. And Whaley, I love Whaley, and she decided to stay in Thailand, and the goal was to try to go over to Thailand and do training camp over there, so she's in the same time zone and all those kind of things. But as soon as Merab's fight got booked, and it's just very hard at this point in time to get out of the gym for that kind of time frame. So, hopefully we can pick it back up after this. I talk to her all the time, and I know she's at a great camp down there with Bang Tao, and I've heard that they're having a phenomenal camp, and the Hickman Bros they're awesome. So I know she's in good hands, and I expect to see her out there, and I think she's gonna still. Let's just put it that way.
All right, man. I'm going to buy you a beer when you're down here, guys. John Wood, big fight, UFC 311. Can't wait to watch it, man. Congratulations on a big fight to kick off the year. I can't wait. And also, I'm happy to see you feeling better as well, man. I know you went through a bit of health struggles. You're looking
Yeah.
good. You're looking
Yeah.
good. We don't
Thank you.
look. You don't look big, but you're looking good. You're looking good.
I'm working on it.
You're
on
still
it.
growing up. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, John. Take care, my friend.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Awesome, dude. All right, that's it. I'll see you in Sydney.
All right,
Grab a
man.
beer.
Awesome. Love to.
Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.